Black Eye Perspective.
Well, I just wanted to come on right quick and just give you guys a little bit of a couple of news updates. The FDA panel rejects board Pfizer booster jabs, scuttling Biden's plan, and endorses limited shots for at-risk elderly. Now, I'm sure you've all heard this, but this news is just in. So let's just get right into it, shall we? It came in at 16:20 Eastern, so minutes after the FDA advisory panel rejected the Biden administration's plan to dole out booster shots to patients as young as 16, the same panel returned and voted unanimously to temporarily approve the Pfizer booster jabs for patients who were either A, 65 or older, B, immunocompromised, or C, both. Ultimately, the panel voted 18-0 to support the emergency use authorization, or more limited clearance than a full approval sought by the administration and Pfizer. The people 65 and older, or individuals at high risk for severe COVID. Ahead of the vote, the analysts at several Wall Street banks and research shots told the clients that a limited authorization would be the most likely outcome amid the groundswell of opposition, for a broad booster dose. Now, as one Twitter user pointed out, the decision represents the biggest bureaucratic revolt. What a strong term. Bureaucratic revolt against the Biden administration's COVID strategy. Let's see, Jordan Satchel at dorsiersubstack.com said, quote, Biden White House intended on rolling out booster shots in 3 days. Today, the FDA overwhelmingly voted to shut that down. First clear revolt from bureaucracy during this administration, sparked by two top officials retiring and denouncing boosters in the Lancet paper. Interesting developments for sure. He continues, it's a legit revolt. The White House is not happy. Here's the strategy to roll out boosters right from their COVID plan. And he cites the document that's on whitehouse.gov. Another Twitter user, here as a reminder, today's public hearing clearly revealed that scientists can have conflicts of interest as well. Justin Hart tweets, just so you know how sciencey our officials are today, one FDA voting panelist said that he'd preferred the starting range for the boosters being 60 plus because he himself is 63. Justin Hart continues, yeah, that happened. Remember, although the FDA isn't obligated to follow the advisory's panel decision, it typically does, and the final decision will likely arrive next week. Now we wait to see what a similar advisory panel at the CDC decides next week as well. There was an update apparently that took place, I believe, prior to this, and it was at 15:30, so it was a little before. A panel of senior advisors for the FDA voted against approving a third dose of the Pfizer-BioNTech jab for every patient over the age of 16, while leaving a door open to approving booster jabs for a limited portion of the population, including the elderly and the immunocompromised. The final total tally was yes 2 to a 16 no to abstain 0. The committee was charged with voting whether the safety and effectiveness data from Pfizer's clinical trial supported approval of the company's booster dose among people 16 years of age and older. The meeting included members of the FDA Vaccines and Related Biological Products Advisory Committee, as well as officials from the CDC, Israel's health ministry, vaccine expert, and Pfizer representatives. During a day of publicly televised debate, some of the advisors indicated that while they see a potential need for older or for more vulnerable patients to receive a third dose, the need for younger people could be less pressing and may not be offset by the risks of dangerous side effects. Quote, there are very clear populations where a booster may be appropriate, such as the elderly or the immunocompromised, said the National Institutes of Health scientist Michael Karoulia. He continues, it's not clear to me that the data we're seeing right now is applicable or necessary for the general population, close quote. At one point, panelist Paul Offit questioned the wide framing of the FDA's questioning and raised concerns about the risk of myocarditis, a kind of heart inflammation in younger men. As CNBC's Meg Tiller reports, with advisors now considering a modified question, this might not be the final vote of the day. Meg Tiller says in a tweet, VRBPAC voting now on 16 plus recommendation for the Pfizer booster, but this likely won't be the end of the meeting or even necessarily the final vote, as some may want to change the age. Well, I think that does it for me. I don't think we need to read any more into this. But you know what? Let's just go on ahead so that we are clear. So here it is. To be clear, the role of the FDA's advisory panel in this case has to determine whether or not the additional dose can be used, whereas an expert panel advising the CDC, Advisory Committee for the Immunizations Practice, or the ACIP, will convene Wednesday to offer its own recommendation on booster jabs. Meanwhile, it doesn't look like the Biden's plan to offer jabs to all comers as of Monday has been delayed, at least for now. According to one of the doctors that work for the CDC, one of the higher paid American people, the question now will be, at what age will the advisory board recommend the boosters? Will it be 60? Will it be 50? Will it be 40? The committee is now taking a brief to revise the question and perhaps narrow it to cover people over the age of 65 and those with immunocompromised issues. Wow. All right, so there's that. And let's just see who we've got over here today. Oh, it's great. It's about 5 of us in here. That's good. Melinda Ann, how are you? Just say hello right quick. Sandy Aaron, I was just talking about you this morning. Just to show to make themselves look legit. I was just talking about you earlier today with Ronnie, Sandy. All good stuff, and that's the only thing there could be to say about you is just good stuff. Melinda Ann Burns, it's so great to see you. Constance White, so exceptional to see you today. And Rachel Van Ziel, one of our super mods. Appreciate having you here in the building. Well, there's another story, ladies. Another story. One that I found quite bizarre. Let me give it to you straight, no chaser. I'm pretty amazed at this next one because wow. That's why I made sure I brought it over here and not any place else. So look at this. Have you guys seen this? A Missouri COVID whistleblower. Hospitals are lying, he says, quote, hospitals are lying to the public about the COVID, he says, and I can prove it. This story comes from Newsbreak, but it looks as if it is from the Missouri State. All right, view more in Missouri State. This is coming from kickthemallout.com. Wow. All right, so this comes today. It says another COVID whistleblower has come forward as the exclusively reported by the Gateway Pundit to allege that the statistics about their ICUs and being overrun are widely inflated, over-reported, and in many cases an outright lie, this author says, but by political officials. And this is all allegedly. I'm going to make sure I keep saying allegedly because this is sort of, it gives you the willies to read it. Let's just click this and go right into it. Hopefully we'll still be there. Hold on just a second. I don't think we are because I know I lost you. So I'm going to read this. I'm going to put this back over here and where we are together and just read it here. All right, because this is, yeah. Everything is allegedly and everything is in quotes, and that's how we're reading it. We're just bringing you what's printed. Nothing here is what I say, okay? The story comes from Ben Whitmore from the Gateway Pundit, and the story says, quote, another COVID whistleblower has come forward as exclusively reported by the Gateway Pundit to allege that the statistics about ICUs being overrun are wildly inflated, over-reported, and in many cases an outright lie by political officials. Josh Snyder worked in facilities management at the Missouri Baptist Medical Center, or MBMC, and he says, quote, "I watched our hospital administrators say in the media that our intensive care units were overflowing with COVID patients at 98% capacity, knowing that it was a complete and utter lie," closed quote. Snyder relates that the MBMC hospital, part of the larger $5.5 billion annual network within the Barnes Jewish Hospital System in St. Louis, Missouri, actually shut down 3 out of 4 of their intensive care floors during COVID because they were unused. And he says, quote, "And even after shutting down 3/4 of our ICU capacity, they were still never more than 50% full with a drastically reduced overall capacity. The medical systems that are saying that they are overrun with COVID patients are likely lying to the public," close quote. This is a quote from Mr. Snyder, and he's also enclosed some photos. So this is the empty ICU ward right here, and here's another entryway. As you go beyond that door, he's showing that. He's showing this. Now, Snyder says that 3 out of 4 of the floors there were closed because there were no COVID patients to put in them. So when hospitals say it's 98% capacity, he says that they're not telling the truth. That's what Snyder says. MBMC has refused to comment for this story after repeated requests for comment. Snyder provided documented evidence of the COVID caseload of the MBMC systems, whose COVID patients do not track national trends, and were the number of COVID patients in the ICU were at many points a single solitary person. Snyder says, quote, "I would have to adjust the airflow in some of the rooms of the people in the ICU with COVID. They were fine. I believe in COVID, and I know that it's serious because I also personally saw people who were fine. And when they had a terminal case of boredom." Snyder continues, "I spoke with these people, and they weren't sick at all. They felt fine, but they were told they had to stay there. Many of them brought their PlayStations," Snyder says, "with them to waste time, the days with video games spent instead." So they spent days with the video games instead, close quote. These charts published by the MBMC below hospital chain also demonstrates that the hospitalizations were very minor. Snyder says their ICU COVID capacity was 60 patients, and Snyder provided an insider chart from the hospital that shows very different numbers than what were being reported to the public and to the government. So here is a sheet that shows Snyder's chart. 19 in ICU and 22 in medicine. So this is the chart here from July 1st through August the 16th, actually August the 18th, because that's where this one ends. It says this was an internal chart and distributed to employees of MBMC. In it, you can see the number of COVID patients in critical care was always under 20, and the hospital shut down 3 to 4 of the ICU wings, and the remaining 1 had the capacity for 60 bed patients. They never came close to being at capacity for the patients. These charts provided by Snyder show that there was a relatively normal track of the infections at the MBMC Center, an acute care facility in St. Louis. Now, this even during periods of infection spikes in the national population, those spikes are not found in the hospital's data, however, as well. The bottom line showing seriousness or serious cases of COVID requiring intensive care remain significantly small and reduced throughout the months of the pandemic. Wow, what do you say to that? Gee whiz. Okay, I can just give it to you like it's here. It says that here in this chart released to the public is something totally different. So we more than likely will have to move and go over there and see the public chart. But let's just do it just for the sake of argument and to be fair with the information. So I've now clicked over and we're going to go ahead and see this. Again, these are not my words, but these are an employee of the Missouri Baptist Medical Center, Town and Country, Missouri. Here are the cases. The 7-day average of hospital and patients, C19 patients. This shows the 7th day sum of the COVID admissions and the emergency department visits. So they have huge numbers. Wow. Let me make this larger just so that you all can see it. Here we go. Bigger, bigger, bigger. And I'll slide it over. Okay, so can you see that? Let me click back over here to you all. Can you guys see that well? Let's see here. Those are amazing, right? Almost 2 years wasted. Yeah. So do you see this here? Look at the date, September the 3rd, all hospital beds, 317.0. All adult inpatient beds, 92.7%. And it also shows 254.9 of 275 beds in use. So that would match the numbers of 92.7 most assuredly. And it also shows the ICU beds as well as the adult. Pediatric is not applicable, and then the adult here. So let's go and slide this over some so you can see the rest of it. Okay. 7-day average of hospitalized C19 patients here. 7-day sum and the 7-day emergency visits. As well, it does show the adult and the pediatric is not applicable. But look at that, 51.7, 44 in this lane, and then 257 here for a total of 758. According to this gentleman, Mr. Snyder, who works there in facilities at this hospital, he's saying these numbers are not correct. These are his words. That's what he says. And there's just nothing else that I could say about it. I'm amazed. Oh, gee, we've lost 3 people already. It was only 3 of us in here on this side of the world. And now we've lost 3. So, let's see. Rachel says, oh, wow, video games. but so I see you sick. Yeah, I know, right? Isn't that amazing? That is too much. So, it looks like, yeah, here in New Mexico, these organizations get 100. Yes. And you remember that we saw that over there as of last year. I think it was April of last year. They started to show the numbers were all inflated because of folks allegedly getting paid. We got to say allegedly here. But anyway, I just thought that I would come and share those 2 stories with you. There is a whole lot more that's going on right now. So let's see. Who do we have? I know we have Rachel. I see Melinda and I see Sandy. So is that all that we have here right now? Because of what I wanted to let you guys know is if you have a praise report, come over to the Lockhart Perspective. Tonight we're having old-fashioned praise and testimony service. And I want you guys to be a part of that because it will be unbelievable. Let's see. Sandy Aaron says, Poison Ivy is coming to Florence next month. I think I'm going to be there. Yeah, I think I should meet you there. I'm the person that kept calling our office all last year. I'm sorry, you guys. That's tonic water. I'm still trying to get rid of all this other stuff that you know is just amazing. But I think I should meet you there. We need to chat. You need to link up with me. But if you ladies want to come over and just tell a small testimony, you do not have to use your face. You can use an avatar. It does not have to have your face on it. You can just type your name. What I'd like to do is try to build up people to let them see that, Yah is still doing miracles. And so if you want to do that, please, please, please go over to the Lockhart Perspective, look down into the community tab, or look at our upcoming live that we're having this evening at 8. And you'll be able to go there. You can go to the Lockhart Perspective and tell me yes or tell me yes here. And I'll go ahead and send you the link and you can just come on. Anything that he's done good. And we're trying to build up folks who are not as strong in the faith as the 3 ladies that I know are in here right now. I know Sandy is very strong. I know Melinda's very strong in the faith. Rachel as well. Or you can recommend it to somebody that you know that has exactly. So yeah, but that is what we're doing. So if you guys want to come, please do. I don't have anybody coming yet, But what prompted this was that the other day we were saying while online that, to do what you needed to do to be available for the feast that we just, we're coming off of. And, you're still here. Hi, Constance. If you want to come, you can too. If you just want to say publicly, I believe that, Yah sent his son to die for me. Any testimony that you guys want to give will be a blessing to somebody who is not of as strong as faith as you have. Okay, so remember, that's tonight at 8 o'clock. If you just want to come on and listen and hang out, you can, but please be there. I thought it'd be fitting to bring this news to you guys because, that's a big difference. That's a huge difference. If you can see that again, huge, 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 huge difference. Look all the way back. And we just saw his chart. This is amazing. That's criminal to do something like that. Period. That's just what it is. That's not nice. That's not nice at all. And it's absolutely not cool. So we see the chart here that he was talking about. This is the bigger one. And this is his. And look at the number. Look at the number. Can you hear that? You can hear the tonic water fizzling in the microphone. So it says that internal on August 18th, the NBMC said that they only had 19 people there. And then the internal on August 20th said to the public that they had 35.3. All right. The public numbers are off from the internal reports of the patients by the ICU by almost 100%. So that is what this gentleman is saying. He's saying this right here is what he saw. They closed 3 floors of this down. This man is saying that. That's what he's got to say. I wonder what else is in here. I mean, gee whiz, I almost want to look and see what else they've got in here. Some videos. Funeral director, COVID medications, not the virus, triggers 50% of the increase. Whoa, yikes. This looks like some stuff that I would have gotten from the mail bag. And those of you who send stuff know exactly what I mean. Wow, look at this. Gee whiz, this looks like a pretty good story. Sound like my mom and them. Well, folks, I'm glad that you guys were able to come and hang out with me for the last 22 minutes. If you can come, hang out with me again. How can you have a 3-person? How can you have a 3-person? You know I'm goofy, Melinda. The people who know that I'm really goofy are Ronnie, Sandy, Rachel. I'm really a little slow. There's certain things that I'm good with, but I don't get this one. Okay, how can you have... 0.3. Yeah, I know, right? How did they do that? 35.3, I think is what you're referring to. The 35.3 that was in the other page. Yeah, I know, right? That's like 2.5 kids and the dog, or a half a dog or whatever, unless it's a hot dog. I don't get it either. Can you give me the info one more time? Sure. Let's do it. You'll just go over to the Lockhart Perspective. And if you have a praise report, just look down below inside of the comments that are already there. I already put inside the description box, Felicia at FeliciaLockhart.com. Go there. When you do that, you'll give me your email address. I'm going to send you a link for you to join me on the panel. And it can be as many people as we want. Yes, 8 o'clock Central, because I'm here with Sandy. I'm in Alabama. And so, it would be 8 o'clock Central, 9 o'clock Eastern. 9 o'clock Eastern. And then you can just come and tell the testimony. And even if it's not something that happened to you, Constance, your neighbor may have had a blessing. They may have been expecting to get some bad news. Maybe they went in and had a biopsy or something. And they went in and they got a good clearance. That's something good going on right now. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to shift all of the energy and go into the great things that are happening in everybody's lives. And I think that this is a very important thing for us to do. And I think it's what he requires us to do. You know what I mean? I think it's what the Father really wants for us to do, is to lift his name up higher and higher and higher and higher, so that it fills the atmosphere and changes and supercharges our environment. I'm just goofy enough to believe that. And I do hope that the person who did this whistleblowing over here is going to be safe, because that's an amazing story at best, right? All right, y'all. Well, I just wanted to bring you some news. Just wanted to hang out with you, tell you I love y'all. And of course, I'm glad that it's y'all, because that way I can just tell you that, right? Because it's just y'all and me. Now, this is good. It's Constance, Rachel, Melinda, Sandy. It's all of us, so we're good to go. All right, ladies, you guys take care, and I hope to see you all this evening. I'm going to put this in here right now. And my grandsons are in there having a good time. They got to play tomorrow. They have football tomorrow. Okay, there you go. I hope I spelled everything correctly. All right, that's it right there. All righty. All right, we out, y'all. We are out. So I will talk to everybody soon. You guys take care and be blessed. To receive instant notification each time I upload, please hit the subscribe button and the bell notification.
Black Eye Perspective. Helping